Hello. Now I'm going to tell you something about the grow lights. You may be a hydroponic professional, or sometimes you may need some artificial lighting for your indoor plants. You can keep some plants within your home, and so many things we need to understand while purchasing a grow light. In almost decades ago, we used halogen lamps for growing plants, providing artificial light. But actually, halogen lamps consume a lot of energy, and it will end up in very big electricity bills. So now LED is the trend. LED means light emitting diode. So even in LED, there are different terms we are using. One thing is that broad spectrum. Spectrum is there. That's broad spectrum. Photosynthetically active radiation means 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer range. That is the photosynthetically active radiation where plants do photosynthesis. So plants are not worried about the brightness of the light, but the wavelength. So this 400 to 700, that is a visible range which is photosynthetically active. But there are some both extreme sides also there, that is ultraviolet side and infrared side. Plants like far infrared and also blue spectrum also for different purposes. For example, our chlorophyll A has some affinity for the red portion of the light. That is for early flowering and those growth aspects. So photomorphogenesis is that is the growth of the plant parts that is decided by the concerned spectrum. For example, the blue light that is required for the root growth. One thing you must know that if somebody says that it is a full spectrum LED, we cannot say that it will mimic the sunlight. Nothing is equal to natural daylight. So we cannot keep all the plants under the grow light. There are some limitations. For example, the sun is very dynamic one, and we have not even invented anything near to the character of a sun. That is not known to us, because sunlight has so many things in it, not only the visible spectrum or IR or infrared. There are wavelengths of different things, because radio waves are there, X-rays are there. So just to leave that subject. Now we are concerned about the grow lights only. I have tried some plants, just like our CC plant, is a desert plant, which is performing better under the that broad spectrum LED, which I purchased from Amazon. It costs only just 500 rupees. But still it's performing well. But one thing, we must be aware of one term, that is CRI, that is a color rendering index, which is more important, because CRI should be above 90, which means that it is that relates to the perception of colors by human beings. That should be more accurate if it is CRI is much higher than 90. So that is one aspect. Secondly, there are so many lights which have different power ranges. For example, 50 watts to 2000 watts are there. Warm color and cool colors are there. We need only cool color. And once again, I would like to say the plants are not worried about the illuminance, lux. That actually the illuminance is for human beings. We can use it for outdoor restaurants, lighting purpose, or so illumination. That luminance is required for human beings only. For plants, the PAR, photosynthetically active radiation, is of more importance. Then these morphogenic responses of plants are co-regulated by the amount and the spectrum of light falling upon the leaves relative to the photosynthesis. That depends upon the absorption of light. For example, I said chlorophyll A and B are responsive to absorption of that lights, and far red is required for inducing the early flowering, blue color for inducing more root growth, etc. Anyway, we can have trials standardizing each and every plant. Then only we can say that that can be used for growing lights. Anyway, LEDs, there are broad spectrum LEDs, then full spectrum and a narrow spectrum LEDs is also. For example, this narrow spectrum LED can be used to emit a particular range only, that is to keep something live inside our house. But the broad spectrum, that is for fully growing. Thank you very much.